Good morning, Robloxians of the War 2 community. Been a while since anything was covered. Quite a few things have happened since then. Not that it has been felt at those given times, given the half-dead state of the community. Lewis is back again. After his 6th millionth ban, his new border LARP goes by the name of Teutonia. Just like his now locked group of Alemannic Realm, this one too is veiled in a wholesome rainbow and bright colors package. Despite their YouTube intro being a one-to-one recreation of the Nazi German one used in World War II. All a stark contrast to the real Lewis we all know and love. Though, despite the cringe cover-up of the fact that they are a Nazi German group, and having a gazillion game passes, they do retain their famed large activity. Gotta respect it. Plus, they recently dropped the raid map. Much better than having just a border map. That concludes the Teutonia section. Next, some Zazonia news. Their glorious leader has finally fixed the Raider gun sights being misaligned. It only took 6 months. Looking good, Purple Poland. Don't wear yourselves out, man. Not much else here. I suppose they uploaded some UGC. Nice. Oh, and also, they have been pondering the possibility of switching from their awful Murnau clone guns to ACS. However, it is unknown whether they will or will not actually go through with the change. Speaking of Murnau, he is back with another group. It is called Lotzen, and the raider team underneath it is named after a now dead Murnau group that went by Northern Elb. It is unknown whether this new group will surpass or join Elb at this time.
Our next segment focuses on the British Commonwealth. After months and months of suspected drug abuse, X-Forge has finally kicked his crippling ketamine addiction. He's managed to get more than 3 people, which is an impressive number for Forge, to come to an event. They're all Polish-speaking people, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. And you know, it's kind of like how the modern United Kingdom is right now anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Back onto other subjects, Richter has officially left the platform, and the Richterian family is now in other people's hands. To commemorate this, they released a document documenting all of their family's history, I guess. It's pretty fucking long, quite boring, I won't lie. But if someone wants to go read it, be my fucking guest. In other news as well, USM 1940s, the one that used to be owned by Syntax. If you haven't heard, Syntax no longer runs it. They had a bit of a change in leadership recently. Most of us already knew that Syntax was a bit of a creep, posting pictures of himself wearing like weird clothes, talking to girls that were questionably underage or not, playing games like Valorant and online dating weird people and stuff like that. I mean, it was a pretty big meme that he had hidden chats within his Discord, like what goes on in the, I think it was the dungeon or whatever. Everyone knew about this for quite a while. Mario and Luigi, who recently took over his group, tried to make out that no one knew about this until then, which most of us find really hard to believe. And the Chuckle Brothers decided to take leadership. Now, it's not a bad thing that they took over the group, because, like I said, USM 1940s was run by Syntax, who was a creep, but personally, in my opinion, and I think a lot of other people's opinions, it was targeted. They only decided to do it because they wanted to take power, not this moral crusade of like, oh, someone was a victim. Like, everyone knew that Syntax was talking to people like this. They were in his group, we weren't. So if we knew it, they must have known it, or they were just playing down ignorance. So, you know, it doesn't really make much sense. Carrying on, let's mention the Kingdom of Bavaria. Those of you who have been on the platform for a long time will know that Bavaria was originally founded almost a decade ago, if not a decade ago, by someone called Kibbeler. Kibbeler shut down the group, well, didn't shut it down, it was shut down by Roblox multiple times, but it's had about 100 reiterations by now. A few times it's been revived by Eric Model, who is the successor but not the successor. So, long story short, Eric was kicked out of the Kibbeler dynasty, but he was in the dynasty, so he's carrying on the legacy of Kibbeler's groups, per se. Now, with this new, most recent iteration, let's have a quick brief discussion about it. They were talking quite a big game. You know, I was quite hyped for the reiteration of Bavaria, I'm not going to lie. We need more access groups in the community. They said they had about 400,000 in funding, which isn't, you know, that's quite impressive. They brought out of like thin air. They managed to have like 200 to 300 people come into the group from like a active fan base pool. They had about 1,000 in total, but 200 to 300 active people. But following from what we've witnessed, when push came to shove, the group basically died within a week, which is pretty sad to say. I mean, we all wanted more access groups in the community, and it's, you know, it is a lot harder to run a group nowadays, so that's pretty much our thinking on it, is they probably got defeated by the ad market. Like, putting 400k in ads now is like, you might as well just go fucking shoot yourself in the head, or like piss it down a stream, because that's basically the equivalent of what you're doing. Following Bavaria, the next topic we're going to speak about is IRF. IRF has recently joined the alliance known as SHAFE, and has begun to conduct joint operations with its allies. A historic turnaround for our community, to be fair. We've not seen an alliance like this for years, maybe 5 to 6 years. The last kind of big ally that IRF had was USM 1940s, but due to the Syntax situation and I guess other stuff going on, they've decided to move away from Syntax and start working with others. Maybe people that have been in the community for longer are all starting to figure out that working with people that have been in the community for longer is better than working with these upstart new people that have coming and taking over groups or just coming out of thin air. So I believe that's the thinking of where they're coming from. I'll have a quick brush over of IGA. IGA, I don't know what is going on with them. They look like they've fallen back into decaying again. Every other week they're either dead or revived, so this is like, what, the 500th time they've died and come back. I know from recent raids that they've done, from what I've heard about, it's not been promising. They back out of their game, it's like halfway through the raid and don't even put up a fair fight, and then just like do the most degenerate bullshit behaviour, like stuff that would bring great dishonour and disrespect to their Emperor Gayani, a man who I do go back very far with, you know, Gayani, the original IGA leader. What a Chad. Great dishonour they have committed. Gayani would not be happy. And in other news, we recently conducted the largest raid in the community's history between SHAFE and Teutonia. I believe it was 260 people that took part, which is quite an amazing feat. You know, that's not been done in the World War II community, like, ever. Hopefully we could get, you know, much bigger than 260 over time. Unfortunately, the servers couldn't really handle that amount of people, especially with first-person gun scripts, because unlike the Napoleonic community, we don't use guns that are made with like 4 lines of code, essentially. They have quite a lot of lines, and tanks, and mortars, and machine guns, and all of that in one server with 260 people. Yeah, it's not going to work very well. As soon as the server system automatically respawned everyone, apparently the servers crashed, so... No victor was decided on that day, per se, from that specific battle. From what I hear, the special forces, per se, of both groups went and fought at Bricktops, and the winner was Shafe, from what I hear. There are some screenshots available of the shenanigans that went on. Do not respawn all at Operation Watchtower, worst mistake of my life, with Peter Griffin hilariously running away, because as soon as everyone respawned, like we mentioned, everyone crashed. So a brilliant time.
And that marks the end of today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. End of transmission.